Hello, welcome to another edition of 5-Minute FRQ, where I take you through an old FRQ on the AP Biology exam in 5 minutes or less. As always, this information is freely available on the College Board's AP Bio website, so if you have any questions, you can look it up. All right, this is question 3 on the 2021 AP exam. Researchers hypothesized that the plant compound resveratrol improves mitochondrial function. Quick aside, I have never heard of resveratrol before. That's not something that's in the AP Bio curriculum, so if you had never heard that word before, don't let it bother you. I hadn't either. To test this hypothesis, researchers dissolve resveratrol in dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO. The solution readily passes through cell membranes. They add the resveratrol solution to mammalian muscle cells growing in a nutrient-rich solution, a culture medium, that contains glucose. They measure ATP production at several time points after the addition of the resveratrol solution and find an increase in ATP production by the muscle cells. All right, part A. Describe the primary advantage for a mammalian muscle cell in using aerobic respiration over fermentation. So part A, you really don't need the prompt to answer part A. The advantage of using aerobic respiration is you make more ATP than fermentation. If you look at the rubric, you make more ATP by aerobic respiration. This is actually a good thing to point out, that a lot of times what's asked in part A might not rely on the prompt. So it goes to show, if you don't understand the prompt, at least read part A. I mean, read all of it, but part A might be something that you just know. All right, B, identify an appropriate negative control for this experiment that would allow the researchers to conclude that ATP is produced in response to the resveratrol treatment. So in my previous 5-minute FRQ, which is number 12, we discussed what a positive control was. So a negative control, so just to review, the control is a setup to make sure that your treatment, that your independent variable is what's affecting the dependent variable, to make sure that the dependent variable is changing due to the independent variable, all right? In this experiment, your independent variable, is the resveratrol. A negative control is a setup where you don't expose your treatment to the variable at all. In medicine, you hear about using a placebo. Someone getting a placebo in a trial isn't getting the medicine. They're just getting like a sugar pill just to see what happens with nothing. So in this case, the negative control would be a treatment where you don't have resveratrol to see what happens. If the mitochondria don't produce ATP, then there's something wrong with your mitochondria. If you look at the rubric, the negative control, well, all you had to say is run the experiment without adding resveratrol, or to do it with only the DMSO. Okay. Part C, predict the effect on short-term ATP production when resveratrol-treated mammalian muscle cells are grown in a culture medium that lacks glucose or other sugars. Without glucose, you're going to have no ATP because the fuel for respiration typically is glucose. So part C, look at the rubric. You get no ATP. They also said reduced ATP. Either one would work. And lastly, part D, the researchers find that resveratrol stimulates the production of components of the electron transport chain. The researchers claim that treatment with resveratrol will also increase oxygen consumption by the cells if glucose is not limiting, justify the claim. So in the electron transport chain, the chain consumes oxygen. Oxygen is the final acceptor of the electrons. So if I have more electron transport chain, you're going to have more electrons, so you're going to have more oxygen pulling the electrons out of the membrane. So justifying that claim, more electrons can be transferred, so more oxygen is required to be the final electron acceptor. Okay? All right, hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.